perspective of it?
Thank you so much, Linda, and it's good to be here. So good morning to our viewers, and as we engage. Is it possible for Kenyans to manage such an entity? Definitely yes. There's nothing under the sun that Kenyans cannot do. And that's why we hear of very great Kenyans, even in the US, doing a lot of amazing things. As a person, what I believe we lack is that people-focused leadership. What we lack is just leadership. The Chinese did not just fall from the sky and come occupy that place. Someone signed an agreement that made the Chinese to invest in what they have. The problem we have as a country is, I think Prof has spoken to the nitty-gritties. For me, I'll just tell Kenyans the biggest problem we have, other than the lack of leadership, is a situation where we lack what we call geopolitical selfishness and positive opportunism for our people. You look at how the world operates today. When the US is waging war in Afghanistan, there is something they're doing there. They are not just going there to fight the Taliban. There is an interest they're protecting, and they are willing to kill people to protect that interest. When wars are being created in Congo, in Kivu Forest, someone benefiting from the gold and the cobalt in that forest. Basically, we are in a situation where we have leaders who are willing to throw away our own birthright as a country and probably as a continent for their own selfish interests. Why? He's talked about value addition. Without value addition, it's very difficult to grow an economy. It's very difficult to bring down the exchange rates. The only way we can deal with that is if we are doing our own manufacturing. You cannot tell me that we cannot manufacture matchboxes to a point where you have to go get matchboxes from China Center because they are cheap. Those who lived before us, and some of us who were born in an era where there used to be things like Rivertex, where we used to produce our own clothes. Now you are telling us that they can only be bought there cheaply. Basically, the point here is we have leaders who have forgone the interest of the people to a level where when they go to the negotiation table, it's not the people they are negotiating for, it's themselves. And then everything is paraded as if it's a Kenyan interest, but in real sense it's for those people. Because what happens here, once you crash the local manufacturing and value addition systems, then we are left, the only option we are left with is to import. And Linda, if you do investigations, you realize that China Square is not 100% owned by the Chinese. We have local owners. Those things that are coming in that now Kenyans are rushing to go and buy are being bought from fellow Kenyans, not from the Chinese. The Chinese may be placed there as face. We know of so many big companies that are owned through foreign conduits because of we are a very emotional country. We mix emotions with politics, and then you're like, if this and this is associated with this person, then it becomes bad. So basically, we have a country where there are people who are deliberately choosing not to do the right thing that can benefit the people, and all that has to do with the laws that we make, the policies that we put in place. He has already mentioned that this thing has been there, and you've mentioned it's been there. Why now? The reason why it's happening now is because there is someone who is trying to get a share of what is going on. And that's what happens. The problem we have is that since independence, we thought we were colonized. People think we got independence. No. Power changed hands. Some faces were put there to look like we are now on our own. But there's a big circle behind the scenes that has remained to run everything. The same thing. As we are having this conversation about China Center, there is someone who is about to be displaced by another local.
Right.
So I think these are some of the conversations that we as Kenyans need to be having. And that's why I always tell Kenyans, politics is more important than the air we breathe. Because politics can turn that air into the sulfuric acid just by virtue of one law or one policy that is approved politically. And that's why we need to engage and interrogate the leaders that we elect. Because, like I said, the Chinese are there legally. A foreigner cannot walk into any country, even Somalia. We talk about countries that are broken like South Sudan. Today, there's a time when Kenyans were being kicked out of South Sudan. South Sudan of all the places, not the United States of America. Why? For you to go and settle anywhere and do business there, more so construction or importation, there is an agreement, there's a bilateral agreement that has been put in place. Now, unfortunately, what we have is that we have agreements that are biased against Kenya as a country.
Social contract, very, very important.
Yes.
First of all, we've looked at some of these activities that are playing out in the country. And it's not just about the Chinese. There are numerous other people that are doing and conducting businesses here. I remember there's a time when South Africa was complaining about the likes of Nigeria and how they've dominated the market there. It looks as though it was xenophobic for that very matter. And now we're talking about the Chinese.